questions.
What have you seen from Trevor Lawrence this season and his development with the new coach?
You see, he's doing a good job of getting the ball out quick. He has a lot of weapons out there with the receivers, the backs, and the tight ends. I know the one guy, he's hurt, he's on IR, but the other two are coming along. But the ball's getting out quick. The thing that's strikingly different to me is his footwork. And again, I'm not a quarterback's coach by any stretch of imagination, but I watch a lot of them, and just the improvement of his footwork, I thought, has been really, really telling in terms of how he's able to get rid of the ball. I think he does a good job of extending plays, in terms of when he goes to scramble, him stepping up in the pocket to throw the ball down the field. It's real impressive to see that. So he presents some challenges. And then on top of that, he can get the ball anywhere on the field, but he can also run. So.
Speaking of his weapons, one of them is Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you look on tape, what stands out to you about him?
And again, I'm not saying this to BS you guys at all, but the first thing that jumped out to me, Heisman Trophy winner, all that stuff about him, and he was a great personality when I met him at the Combine. But the first play that stood out to me was when he was in the close position to the man line of scrimmage, and he was, I forget what team it was, but he was blocking somebody. And, it was just, again, I attribute that to him as a football player, him in terms of his attitude, but also knowing EB, the wide receivers coach there. I mean, he's going to make those guys block, and you can see it throughout the room, but to see a guy of that, coming in with that stature and that pedigree, I mean, he was blocking somebody, and he did a good job, almost pancaked him, so it was an interesting play to see. That's what stood out, aside from his obvious wide receiver skills.
How impressed are you about the way he's able to play both sides of the field? Obviously, you have to worry about him as a receiver more than anything, but the way he has the endurance to do that on a weekly basis, what's there?
And I know it's been limited in terms of the amount of plays, but it's so funny with this league and this game. It's not anything new. It's not anything. We've seen guys do it before. Obviously, they're a special breed of player, but I'm sure the organization there, they're just trying to do what they think is best to help him win games. So if he could do it, he could do it. So any well-conditioned athlete, I'm impressed by that. But that's what they get paid to do. They got to be conditioned physically and mentally. More so for me, mentally. Thank God, not physically, but that's part of the job.
You're studying him now as an offensive player because you have to try to stop him. But I know you probably looked at him scouting-wise as a defensive player. What stood out in terms of his cornerback skills?
Just he's solid across the board. You learn from one of the best to ever do it, at the line of scrimmage. But that was a long time ago. But I haven't watched crossover tape now with that. But I remember his ability to press at the line of scrimmage was impressive.
Patrick, I know on a game-to-game basis you're focused on getting ready for your next opponent, but how much do you get a chance to observe your practice squad players, and how important is that element to a team?
That's critical for any pro coach. I mean, we have a job to do. Again, I'm the coordinator, and coaching the coaches, coaching the players, and putting together the plan. But also, our program, and Pete, I'm sure he said in his opening press conference, we're developmental coaches. Our job is to develop the team, and it would be negligent for us to not look at the practice squad players because it's a collision sport. Those guys are going to end up playing for us. So for me, it's watching it every day, paying attention to it between periods when the look team is out there. I think it's critical. Some of the best players. I mean, think about it. Jonah was on the look team at first, so some of the best players I've coached came from the look team. Jamie Collins didn't play a whole bunch of defensive snaps his first year. He was mostly special teams, and then he ends up being one of the best players I ever coached. So, if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job, in my opinion.
Do you give yourself a little bit of time, maybe organizationally or you individually, to say, man, I'm happy for him?
Oh, yeah. All we got is time. Again, during this part of the season, the families, thankfully they let us do our thing, and we're here a lot and get a chance to watch tape. And I think it's important as a teacher to give them feedback. Hey, this is good, but also it's good to give them feedback. Listen, don't think I'm not watching this. If you're playing with high pad level on the look team, how's that going to give me confidence for you to play for us for real games? So always giving feedback. That's part of being a good teacher, I think.
When you had the opportunity in the bye week to do self-evaluation and look at your defense as a unit, what was your, biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway was, trying to minimize the third and shorts. So again, this league, you know, and just throughout my career, like we spend so much time on third down, we spend so much time in the red area, which is warranted. But it's the first and second down plays, you know. Like you think about some of the drives we've given up. Sometimes they didn't even get to third down. When they got to 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, that's not even really third down right there. I don't know what they're gonna do there. They could run, especially nowadays. They could run. The quarterback can run. They could go for on 4th down with all the analytics. So my job, the self-evaluation, is I got to put these guys in a better spot on 2nd down. 1st down, pretty solid. 2nd down, got to do a better job on 2nd down and try to create some longer 3rd down situations. So that falls on me.
I know after games you like to turn the page and move ahead, but is that particularly true in the Kansas City game where?
Yeah, you know that. Why'd you ask that question? Yes, obviously. No offense, but yeah, shit. I mean, I'm not even in trouble with my mom. Yeah. Mahomes having 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 1. Yes, it's a problem. Sorry. Come on, man.
All good, guys.
Y'all good?
Thank you. Thank you.